Hello everyone, my name's Yuta Jazz, and today we're going to do a reading, a pick-up pile of what beauty lies within you, or what beauty is within you, whatever, how beautiful you are. And it's gonna be from the eyes of spirits, so it might be something you might not even be aware of or not notice as much, or they might describe it in a way that's kind of weird or quirky. It's a little bit aloof in a way, or otherwise you might be like, yeah, I am like that, I do know that, or I didn't think that was a aspect of me that is regarded to be beautiful. By spirit, your guides, your higher self, maybe you on a subconscious level. Take it however it's gonna resonate, or wherever you're gonna find personal meaning and growth for it, right? But it's basically just talking about you being beautiful, 'cause come on, we need that sometimes. We need to hear it just because, it's a thing doesn't mean there's always compliments out there or other things mentioning it, right? So yeah, gonna start with pile number one up to five again. Pick whichever one you want to go to. And I'm gonna, yeah, start off with pile number one. See you over there. So, hello, pile number one. I did want to start off and mention, and I think this is gonna be the only pile I'm gonna mention it in. But anyway, that all of the cards are actually upright, and I don't think I've had that yet. So I'm kind of happy about that. Your card is the Nine of Pentacles, which I mean is just kind of great here. Definitely yelling abundance and opportunity, prosperity in general, enjoying the fruits of your labor, seeing seeds already sprout and show leaf or whatever. There's things that you are already enjoying as well, with that card being spoken to. You have this energy of affluency and making the most out of the things that otherwise maybe couldn't really say is a lot, or you can do a lot with it, but you have an ability of creating things and opportunities out of basically almost kind of like nothing, and it feels classy in a way as well. So I don't know how that necessarily works. As an analogy, it's not necessarily something being like very scrappy or little, right? Where you can find, I don't know, junk and make it into meaningless, useless other types of junk, right? It's more about the case that you can actually go out, find what still has value or what is more important or just useful in the moment in time than it would be left alone there where you found it. Like, and it can become something very useful. You maybe like I don't know, just find stuff to upsell really well. Um, you create it into something that's more important. I keep imagining, let's say, an engine that you find in a scrapyard, and most people would say like that's useless, it doesn't freaking matter. But to another person that's building their car up, right, from scratch, and it's like a youth project for them or something else, or they need an actual just engine for something, and they really need a proper good one, right? And the one that you see over there is good enough to do the job for some, right? But for others, like that are creating something, it's like that's exactly the one I needed. And it might look rough, but it's actually in great quality, and I can see that, and I want to get it, and you get it for free or something, right? Other people don't. If it's technology that's passed down to you, it's always like, yeah, you can have it, right? And you just kind of grab it and can resell it or use it for yourself. Um, Maybe you know how to trade really well. That's kind of coming through as well. Maybe you're just a person that gets good gifts as well. You kind of set that up for yourself and you then use it for whatever you want it for a really good amount of time. You look after your stuff. Yeah, a lot of that is coming through. A thrifty person. basically. A thrifty person that has what they need. Even when you're not really in the best of circumstances in life, you still have like something around or about you that's like, okay, this person's well off. They're doing okay. And like this is an energy, so it can express in many different ways, regardless if you earn a lot or if you earn very little. All right, three off the top. Let's go for it. So it is coming through to me that you've had to be this or become this for yourself because you didn't really have a good home to start off with. You didn't have a good living arrangement or situation of some sort. And it feels more like from the point of money, resources, food, food quality, clothes quality, stuff like that. Like maybe, I don't know, a match, even the quality of a mattress is coming through for some reason, so not necessarily a comfortable bed, maybe a couch bed or like a foam mattress that kind of was crappy as well. Like a bunch of little things like that that didn't really work out in the household really had an impact on you, making you feel like you want to be more comfortable and you deserve more and you can create that, but you have to do it for yourself and create it for yourself because the environment where you grew up was unstable. People couldn't do it for themselves, and so they couldn't do it for you. And you kind of realized that and turned it over on its head and was like, I'm gonna make my own fortune then because I can obviously not rely on these people and like I can be upset about it and act out and make it worse for myself, or I can literally turn it around and know how to talk to people, right? Be the first one for people to like give stuff away to me for, I don't know, whatever reason you found. Maybe you were nice or helpful. Maybe you knew how to socialize, right? You used like some sort of charm. Maybe you knew how to fix stuff up or whatever, or help people with other things, right? There's so many little, big, small, whatever things that you could do throughout life or growing up that yeah, it can open doors for you, and you just found ways of how you could get free stuff from school even, like I don't know, a tech lab, right? It has banged up stuff, but if you put it all together, you got a working computer. There we go. You ask the teacher, they don't give a crap. They're like, yeah, take it, make use of it if you can. That's cool, you know. It's worth it. And you got a lot of good quality stuff this way, but all of it ta like took your own effort and time and you really had to carefully think about all of this. It wasn't easy because it was kind of like I literally need to look out for my best interests at heart and also even just the material, like mundane stuff that is important to my well-being and happiness. Like I need to do this for myself because I don't have the opportunity of relying on other people. Maybe there were like two occasions or two distinctive types of issues you could trust other people to. Maybe it was only just one, right? But it wasn't a spectrum of your needs being met with a supportive household. So you kind of, had to move on to maybe buying your own clothes, maybe making your own food, stuff like that. You just constantly were in a way hustling, but really for you it was just like living. And so you out hustled yourself into a whole lifestyle thing here, like or a way of being that's constantly quite reassured, like you're comfortable in some ways, or you always have the bare minimum stuff like sorted out and done. Maybe you're kind of lucky in some other things. You have a good opportunity with doctors or dentists or something. Like you figured out not just the connections you could have for this type of stuff to be happening, but also yeah, what it is and how you actually do it. Okay, so finding your own oasis, creating like a a portal to places you never thought you'd be in or at or around, and making that dream a reality. That's coming through like quite strongly, but never getting like tied down to people that would want to take away from you or hold you back or kind of it's gonna come through a little bit harsh, but like not standing back or holding yourself back because other people around you, even if you care about them or their family or their, whatever they are to you, it's kind of like I'm not gonna hold myself back and go forward always waiting for someone else or always managing my aspirations and dreams because of someone else's lifestyle or way of doing things or how they're not really making it in life or things aren't working out for them. Like you aren't going to hold yourself back because someone needs or wants you to be around, they're not really doing what they need to for themselves to begin with. I feel like you are a person if you love a person enough and want to like live your life with them or whatever, right? And you can see it's compatible or it's a good idea. You kind of go for it. Otherwise, you keep yourself away from making commitments that would be unhealthy for you. And it would just like get lopsided, even if a person was well-natured or loving you or genuinely trying to help, it's kind of like, I'm gonna take that emotional investment away so I can create my own way of living instead of going around hoping for things to be what they weren't ever for me. It's kind of like that. Um, I feel like there's a lot of emotional processing with all of this as well, because you've had to had your back. There's just some stuff that's coming through the cards that is a bit of baggage and is of like this annoyance or pain of not being really supported, but then having this abundance vibe for yourself as a thing you unlocked and realized. There's avenues or options for you to kind of help other people out with this, but you don't necessarily need to. For some of you, it is kind of important. For others, not so much. And I did hear someone say hell no when I said that. So, look into releasing the baggage for sure for yourself, but otherwise than that, you can also let yourself accept the point that even if it sucked, it was a good thing that helped you become who you are and make it to even higher heights than you would have otherwise, right? Because kind of the world does work in its own way, and sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's mysterious, sometimes it kind of is a bit heavy. It sucks, right? And the way you've gained your own portal to manifestation and co-creation, just like the vibe of abundance and prosperity and really having your shit together is because things didn't work out in the past, and now you know how to see it, notice it, and not fall into it. And you really made the most out of this in your life because you created this kind of way of like you really can just kind of go wherever you want to and need to and be uninhibited, and you can really make the most out of it, and you're not really confined by expectations or standards of what good or bad or happy or healthy or whatever it is in the home because you didn't have it. You don't have a definition for it because of it. You just have what is good for you and is working for you and feels good as the only way you can kind of operate now because otherwise it does not compute. It's kind of done and over. Um, yeah, some people might call you a bit icy or like cold because of the way you live your life, but I don't think that. I think you've just transformed into a person that's like this and is like freely being themselves without confining themselves to some standards that wouldn't be good to them either way. I feel like you understand where you need to change or develop as a person, which is a completely different topic here. So, um, yeah, or where other things are now like, improving as well within your capabilities or age or abilities or talents or whatever it is for you, right? Those are the last cards. There's still something a little bit like from the middle point of your life that's bothering you, though. There's something from the middle point of your life that's still like, meh, up right here. Yeah, it's a weird energy in this pile because I feel like there's so much to say, but also it's important to not say that much. And I saw like a very interesting beam of light at the moment as well, like an orb. It's good that you didn't take what you didn't need in the past, but don't let that become like a de default function of yours where you start refusing things that are potentially good for you or can actually come in place of this and be like the real expression of a youth you've never had. And whatever that'll be for you, and it's different for anyone and everyone. Maybe you'd like living in a I don't know, like a really good household, right? And there's plenty of freaking animals. Maybe it's even a farm, right? And you don't really actually have family or anyone like that. You don't really have like best friends or whatever, but there would be an opportunity for you to live like that, and that's your happy home. You kind of find a community or a neighborhood that really speaks to you. Maybe it's actually the nuclear family. Maybe it's just kind of finding a partner with some fur babies, whatever it is. Maybe it's a bachelor's life for you for to start with, right? And for whatever amount of time with people and friends around or just someone to invest in. Whatever it is for you that would be a happy home life situation, right? You still have an opportunity to have something that you would have never been able to because of old or otherwise standards of some sort, and it can really create this nice community vibe where you find your unique self in a different way that's not so dissociated and far away from people, that's so in the dark in a way, because there's something of like not being able to feel yourself sometimes. That's because you probably don't connect with people to see these parts that you can't experience by yourself, um, which is just, the weird way of how being human works. It's a kaleidoscope effect. It's not just being turned in a different place or way, right? It's also you connecting with different other parts or different ways and different angles, but it's also just different elements. It's gonna be alright. The way you kind of express yourself and have your foundation already is going to shine through anyway, and that's going to call in people that are going to be good for you to connect with you, but you need to also be open to them connecting to you and then you kind of figuring out the balance with that because I feel like this is the other side of boundaries where it's kind of like breaking them slowly down or changing and shifting them because you have people that aren't out to get you, right? So you need to change the way you operate on that. Instead of constantly defending or having really rigid checks, you have a different approach where it's more open and exploratory, right? And then you directly communicate if something's wrong or something occurs wrong instead of having it blow out or something. It's literally like, oh, it's not great if you come to my doorbell or knock on my door, right? Can you just give me a text first next time? And then I'll call you and we'll like arrange a place to meet up. I don't want you coming to my house. Something like that. Um, but this is an analogy of energy of like actually starting to even just have people around in your world or a part of your world kind of feels like it. It's kind of like you want to start taking up a different approach to your life that includes this like a community vibe thing where you also eventually start figuring yourself out in a vulnerable space, wanting to become, you know, kind of like in your happy family dynamic, your happy home, your happy life, your home base, whatever it is. And it can be, a home or a neighborhood, anything. But you're gonna start looking into how to really like tie the knot on this because I feel like there's something still loose of like, okay, what's the purpose of this? Where do I land this? Where do I ground this? This was an interesting and quite amazing, good reading. Thank you so much for coming on over here and, picking a pile, sharing your story, sharing your energy. I really appreciate it. If you want to go down below and comment or like or something, I'll appreciate that even more. And if you don't, you don't. It's okay. I also have a link tree if you're interested in live streams of tarot and video games. And yeah, there's some other stuff there that I kind of use, kind of don't use. I mean, I do. If you want to go check out the tree, go check out the link tree. But otherwise, I wish you a good time. You have a good one, and see you next time. Hello, pile number two. Let's check out your cards. All of them are upright, which is quite awesome. And you got the two swords, which is kind of fitting, isn't it, for like pile number two? This is weird and interesting. I want to put the card up here. And I usually put it down here. I don't know. In a way, you could say it's kind of like a folder pop-up button. You place the main card here, and then I start shuffling to get all of the other ones out of it. But for some reason, this reading is gonna have this card right up here, so maybe it's going to be incorporated more into the reading. Reversed. Okay. I mean, what I wanted to say, I'm being held back from saying, so I'm gonna shush it. Okay. I'm just like trying to get into the energy, and I'm just kind of interested. Yeah, don't know quite yet why. Reverse as well. It's one of those readings where I'm like, if you could see my face, which at some point you're probably gonna be able to see my face on this, but I actually kind of was like just staring at the high priestess, being like, huh? Okay, okie dokie. Interesting vibe. So you're kind of one of those people that phases in and out of like reality very sharp. Others aren't really as sharp as you. You might have experienced a shit ton of Mandela effects, like, and you just think that that's just you being stupid or misremembering or imagining things. You play it off really well as like, oh, this is just a character trait of me just being kind of silly and it's okay, it's fine. It's like, no, 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 no. You literally dip in and out of time sometimes, or like you know when the air just changes out of nowhere around you. That is because you really just crossed a dimension line or threshold or whatever, or the vibe changes with the group of people you're with. It's just like you turn a corner and out of nowhere everyone's different in a way. You're like, what's happening? You can notice these things and they happen to you all the damn time, and you sometimes feel you're kind of crazy, or you just perceive reality in a very different way that other people don't, and they just don't get it. Um, yeah, you're an interesting person. I feel like definitely rationalize yourself into a corner on some of these things, but you still believe in magic because you've experienced so much weird stuff that's kind of like you can't deny so much to yourself, but like you think a lot of your experiences are kind of just you being crazy. It's like, no, you're actually ahead of the curve in a way because one, you have a transparency with this, and also yourself, right? Like you playing tricks on you, but you don't do that often. I think you've tried your hardest to stop doing it on purpose, and it's kind of like you're doing it on purpose in a different way. It's not you creating stuff. It's literally you being a multidimensional being that is experiencing this life in a weird, magical, and energetical way. It's not really a concise, linear way of going through life. It doesn't really make sense sometimes, and you really kind of I don't know, you just check out a bunch of different ways of looking at things as well, like reality and life and approaches and how you feel and how other people feel, and you can even kind of heal people in a way. Like with that, it's like I imagine a person stepping onto a different timeline and literally taking the person that they're working with on the same timeline. And that person is out of nowhere like, I don't have no more back pain or something. Maybe you've even had that actually. I kind of had a experience of like, oh, that kind of occurred to me some at some point. I was confused and now it makes sense. And it's like, yeah, no, that's part of it. Literally, you just take a person and be like bloop, like how do you feel? Ah, I feel better. Or, huh, I don't like this person. They need to learn their shit. Uh, let's drop you in this other place. And that one kind of is scary too, because you've left some people in places they shouldn't have been at. Like they didn't deserve the vibes they got, and you are, I don't know, trying to like make amends for it in a way. Or no. Like I don't know why the word reprimand, but that doesn't work here. Reprimand for some reason keeps coming through, but it's like you're trying to take it back in a way without doing anything about it to the person or situation. It's kind of like taking that as a lesson and going forward of like I shouldn't be messing with things like that. I'm not justice. I am just here in between of the both of the worlds, and sometimes I act on that in a way that's either going to be benevolent and good and not that crazy, or kind of out of the norms. Not necessarily like ill-willed anymore. You don't want to be like that. That didn't feel good to you. But yeah, you turn a lot of stuff upside down and all around. And the way you know if this is your pile or not, this is basically like if I would imagine an actual life with this energy, you can have a whole week really fucking sunny, really good, like the best shit ever. People can't even comment on like they had a week like that. Then out of nowhere, you have 2 weeks that are really bad, and then again, it's very good, very bad, very good, and it's, it goes on for different periods of time depending on, I don't know, how you work with it, how the astrology is aligning, what's occurring with maybe your family dynamic or the industry you're working in. Like there's moving parts to it. It's not just you doing this, but it's kind of like you go with the pendulum string, like I can't explain it. It's like kind of like the Spider-Man Spider-Verse thing. You just kind of like imagine if you went into a glass or like into a window or a glass or whatever like that, or you would literally fall off the edge of a building like Spider-Man does. You, as soon as you turn downwards on where your feet were, right? Like as soon as you cross the threshold of like whatever that 180 degrees fall would be, it literally like the whole world shifts, everything. It's a different universe, dimension, reality. And so you experience it only in high highs or low lows from as much as I've noticed. Like that's the way you've realized it to be. Maybe you thought your life is like that. Like that's only one kind of like parameter I can see some people being stuck in this group. Some of you are more advanced and are aware that there's different vibes and then there's different colors and dimensions and places. And some of them you can go to, some of them are off limits, and others are like unrestricted, restricted thing. So it's a timing or a seasonal thing. And there's rules to this shit. Like it's kind of like playing with the Matrix or the simulation in like yeah, multi-dimensional ways. Um, you have some type of awareness or feeling for this. If the high priestess was not here, I would not be saying that, but you do, you understand what I'm talking about here, and you've turned some people's lives around, which isn't the point of it though. It's more of like you can literally cycle through any of these feelings or experiences or emotions as much as you want for as long as you need to, but you need to play nice with the like with the system of it. You need to respect the natural flow of like liberty or justice in energy, like equilibrium basically. You need to respect equilibrium and natural law. Otherwise, you yourself are just going to be upside down or amongst upside down stuff all the time. But it's kind of like you understand, oh, this is how the pendulum works, and because I have this access, I can do magic. Like I literally can live my life in a way that no one else lives. They don't see this, they don't feel this. This doesn't happen to them. But I can experience this and appreciate it and enjoy this because not just because of like the high highs, but when it's really low lows, I feel like you can unroot a lot of important negative shit. You can take it out of the fucking equation, make everyone kind of go through it on some level, and then you jump into a new reality where none of that matters, but you needed to do that to cross over anyway, type of thing. And you can really like play around with karmic bubbles, even parasites and attachments. I don't freaking know. Phase, I guess they phase out. I don't know. Um, yeah, there's a lot of like weird. What's the name of that book or show? I I can't remember in English. Maybe it's Jumper, like literally. Choklis. Maybe it's like time, time jumper of some sort. I don't know. There's a movie and a book where basically if you know of a place and you have like I think an image of it, maybe you don't even need a picture of it, but I remember the people like literally staring into the pictures at the beginning of the movie. They can go to that place. They needed to have been here there or know about it or have seen it really well, but they can go to basically like any part of the place that, you know, the planet, I mean, that they want to by just looking at a photo. So you guys kind of remind me of that in also living your life in a way like that in spiritual, energetical ways. And kind of, you know, occasionally trying your luck with it, seeing what gnarly stuff you can get to. But yeah, you're in charge. I feel like this one is kind of like I didn't want to hear it or this. Some of you really wanted to be aware of this and know this and live like this and everything else, and it's kind of like fine. I just get tired of all of these moving parts and how do I make them work one way or another? And it's like, I mean, you literally live your life going through 100 different atmospheres, possibly in a week, if not like a month or something. I don't know how regular this is for you, but you know, it's not going to be something that's going to be less complicated than life itself. Um, and you can figure out a way where you're happy with it and interested in accepting the life of it, right? And it's going to be highs and lows of any like anything has that. There's things that are inescapable to life overall that you can't blame this type of experience on or like I think you got what I meant. You really there's things that you can do here that'll make you feel happier about it, and there's gonna be things that aren't, and it is a realizing effort process, if you will. I guess just like kind of like if you can understand or imagine the prospects of how you learn to lucid dream and the different science of different things in those dreams, right? Or even in those worlds, if you go that far, if it's astral travel, then it's the same here. It's the same here. Just because this is a physical reality doesn't mean that you can't look out for signs and symbols and like avenues and pointers on how you do this, why it happens the way it happens, and what you yourself need to traverse or be like, or what energy you need to hold, or what the feelings are when you're gonna cross a threshold, like whatever it is, right? Start getting into it and then you can start developing a language about it for yourself that makes you live an experience where it's easier to navigate because you can actually like read the fucking signs or you can feel it or you can understand it better instead of being like everything's flip-flopping all the time. What the fuck do I do? Where do I go? This is annoying. Well, this is you. This is your gift. This is the beauty in you. Not a lot of people live life like this. This is a really weird, interesting experience. I mean, unless it's as bad as like literally people that wake up in other realities without their partners, right? And like they were married, now they're not, or in different places of the planet, or whatever it is, right? When it's super drastic shit like that, you can lose your damn mind. But I guess when it's also very common, you could argue the same. But it's kind of like a fish being in water here for you. Even if you wouldn't like it, even if you think you wouldn't want this or wouldn't like this is just the way you were meant to be. This is unavoidable. You couldn't walk otherwise. You couldn't breathe. You couldn't laugh. You couldn't do anything. Like you couldn't. I don't know why even I had like this list of things going on for some reason. Like you couldn't smoke weed came across. I don't know for who that is important. And I don't know how that works for you, but anyway, moving on. I'm gonna pull a few more cards from the Universe as your back deck, and yeah, we're gonna get into this. I kind of like how this High Priestess being in the fucking center literally got completely like hidden in a way, because it's kind of like you going through portals is a hidden thing to everyone, but not to you. I don't know, maybe a spiritualist would notice you fucking dipping around like that. Maybe you kind of pop up for some people, but I don't really feel that way. I feel like you're quite an elusive person, an aspect, to most, and you elude everyone, and it's kind of like, what the heck? Surprising how you just pop out or pop into places, but my vibes speak louder than my words. I'm gonna wait before I go off to the other cards because it just feels important to mention that I think you're going through an identity shift and personal like transformation on how this just is a part of your life. I feel like you're just accepting the reality of like I influence my experience to this level and like I don't know, severity that I don't need to also explain it to other people, but I also just need to like accept that there's a different way of living my own damn life that I didn't quite understand previously or look into, and it's only now becoming apparent, and it's crazier than getting a diagnosis or something, or a condition, right? Or whatever it is. Um, it's more like, oh shit, or you choosing to have an unhealthy habit, right? Whatever it is, like being that person that constantly starts arguments or whatever it is, right? Like it's not any of those things. It's actually something quite unique and different to you, and there's something you can live about this and around this that's going to be very good for you and the people around you. You're going to be very highly revered. You're gonna be very trusted. You're gonna be looked after. Like I don't know, you're gonna be like that interdimensional friends that people are like, "Yay, thank you for coming back from that shithole of a timeline and fixing that stuff for all of us, do you want free food for like, I don't know, a week? Cause I don't know what to do with it, or I am traveling, moving, whatever it is, or I cooked too much, like take some, you know. You're just gonna have like really interesting experiences of your own because of this and with this. And I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love, and that's reversed. I feel like that's all I gotta pick, so I'm gonna leave it. And yeah, my vibes speak louder than my words. You'll understand that this isn't something to be upset about or hate about yourself. It can be something that you're uncomfortable about, and you can start working towards the direction or the journey of accepting this of yourself and accepting that this is a life you have that will be still meaningful and happy and full of opportunities and good events and things, but that there's a different way of going around it and a different influence behind it that you're realizing, and it's a lot different. It's not a condition. Um, Maybe you can get overwhelmed and have outbursts, but that would be still different, right? So, yeah. I wish you luck with realizing this aspect of yourself fully and accepting the potential of your life with what this is. It's really damn trippy. I gotta be honest, this is kind of trippy. But also really cool for a person like me. I'm like, I am so interested, and I would like to see how it works in truth and everything else, but I'm gonna leave you here with, you know, I guess my experience of it being a reading that left me speechless and excited a bit. But also, yeah, if you want to show your support, share your story, you can go down below into the comment section and do that, or press whatever buttons and keep your anonymity. And you can also check out my link tree where I do Twitch and some other things that might interest you, like gaming and me just occasionally spiritually, philosophically talking about life and everything else. Yeah, thank you. I hope you have a good time. Wishing the best to you and yours, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye. Hello, pile number three. Let's go at it and check out what it's about. I love this Five of Pentacles because it kind of makes me feel, I don't know, a little bit more cozy inside. Um, it actually looks like they're getting respite and refuge in the church instead of being like it feeling more like they got kicked out of the church in the original Rider-Waite. And I like that they're holding hands. It kind of makes it feel a lot more wholesome and like things aren't as bad as they seem. And there's some type of support out there in the world. And yeah, I don't know the feeling I got before I started rambling on all of that, but now that I started rambling on all of that, it did make me feel like you people are the group where people find company in misery and in desperate times, in bad situations and in shit avenues. They might meet your face out of the blue, where you might be actually more of a smiling type, or you have something just so pure and humane and human behind you that it instantly warms anyone's heart. And they might be very, like, you might have just been that person that helps out random people, and you give them like a hot meal or something, right? And you're like, I'll give you a ride, and they just burst down into tears in your freaking kitchen, like telling you everything, and them being like, I'm so sorry, I couldn't hold back. Like, you just have this welcoming vibe that lets people be freely emotional and be broken the fuck down. And I'm getting emotional, and I'm not quite sure why. maybe it's emotional hearing this from someone like put so specifically. I know that that sometimes happens in readings where something is said in a particular way and it really hits. Maybe it's one of those readings, right? I guess a part of it is like, the feeling you provide to other people because they actually usually are seeking a place where they can feel even just a little bit safer for a moment, right? Just to feel different, just to feel okay before they start needing to go out and sort their shit out in business, right? And then they meet you and it's like that's the feeling they get. It's kind of like the emotional release feeling where your nervous system is actually like, oh my God, okay, slight moment of feeling the shock and it going away, or feeling the emotional like hardship and it going away, and me feeling just a little bit more relaxed, even if I'm distraught because I just had the opportunity to snap out of that fight or flight program, right, and just be accepted in the moment for who I and how I am and how I feel. Yeah, you guys have been through fucking loads, man. You might have a chaotic nature about you that kind of enjoys darkness or drama to an extent, but like I don't know, you yourself are really pure-hearted. It's kind of like maybe it kind of helps you stay energized in a way, and I don't think it's a bad thing. It's kind of like you know how there might be it just fucking blanked. I feel like no, it's not important. Let's move on with the reading for some reason. I'm not quite sure why, but you might have some type of like demeanor to you that's more delinquent, that's like mischievous, that moves around or does things in like quirky ways that is actually still okay or nice or good, but it might be considered to be dark or out of the blue or a bit chaotic or disruptive. Sometimes it's needed, sometimes it's not. You know when you're crossing the threshold and how it's done the right way and how it's not. And if you don't know yet, then you're learning how to do that in the right way that doesn't like disrupt you or people or I don't know, just harmony of certain spaces because it might be it's not necessarily good just because you can do it, right? Sometimes that means like you have the potential to do something in an even better and more improved way. And sometimes it's not about being a delinquent that just gets away with it. It's more of I have this energy, I have this fire or flare about me, I have this like intent that's pure, I have this aspect of me that's real in in the core just of me, and I'm refining or I have refined the right way of how to do this instead of kind of like doing it half-assedly like a teenager would, right? Like let's say emotional consoling, very simple example, right? Even if the teenager really wants to teach someone, right? Or tell them like it's gonna be okay and whatever, because of their own problems, besides going through, puberty and other things, and not really knowing emotional intelligence quite yet, they might accidentally say something in a very rude, mean way, thinking it's okay because that's just how people communicate or should communicate or have communicated to them, right? But then they realize like, oh shit, it's a bit too much, it's too harsh, and through time, a person develops basically their emotional communication. There's something around that as well here of like the analogy of being matured with this darkness of yours or this like talent of yours or this intense energy that can create an impact and change the course of action of things because it's all cool and right to have a side to you that's of support and love and care and there for people, but if you justify your like other side without having consideration or development there, right? And not taking accountability for your actions or even responsibility for how you come across when you do have the capacity to do that. It will just always come out the way it's come out. That wasn't really great. because of miscommunication, people seeing you one way, saying that this thing you're doing is always bad, although it maybe isn't that bad, maybe it's just developing. There's many different ways of how these two different sides to you that can counteract each other or be developing together towards a whole character and personality trait of yours. It's beautiful that you have these two things and they both have power, but one has a tendency to grow out of control in a way that is harmful and not okay or good for anyone. And I think that's kind of like a primal energy of like, but this kind of feels just wacky and like fun in and of itself. And I'm okay with the repercussions or the consequences and then justifying them. But then that takes away from the ability of creating safe spaces as well, right? That actually counter intuits all of it to a point where it's a standstill because you can't be in the dark in a way that's harmonious and balanced and good enough, right? And then you can't be in the energy of creating safe spaces because of either disgruntlement or other issues. When you're at your best, it's fine. You're a very welcoming person that's trustworthy, that can listen to secrets, that can provide as well in the moment, and be that temporary emergency or shelter space or place or just a person you can rely on to get a thing done, right? You can be that person and thing, but the other side of like the darkness of it, and the mischievousness of it, or the tough, difficult conversations, or kind of reverting into this like childlike banter that's a little bit over the top and sometimes a bit strong. It's kind of like finding your home and place and space within or between all of that in a way that really kind of harmoniously connects because it's not something you need to just be like heartbroken over, right, and constantly disappointed about because I feel like that's the cycle that starts coming in or from these two sides that this card is talking about. Um, why go between extremes of being an angel and a devil, right? Why go between the extremes of being secure and stable and resourceful and getting stuff done, like, getting all of your T's crossed and everything. And then having the other side that just completely is wrecked, going partying all the time, not working towards personal goals that are actually important, not looking to the like hard-ish things that are unpleasant or just tedious, right, in life, but that are important regardless. So I don't know why style is coming across. So like figuring out how you prefer styles or clothing or matching up the clothing, right? Then how do you appreciate it like personally? With your energy and how you actually feel with it, right? But what actually also works if you look at it as a distinct thing of its own, right? How do you have fun when you need to have fun and not go overboard and go binge drinking for 3 days, right? But know how to really use the opportunity to meet up with friends on a Saturday or Sunday or something and be like, oh my God, this was great. And tomorrow I can actually wake up and feel good and go to work and not be like hungover and a mess, like waiting to get off work, start drinking again, right? Um, and how do I still like work towards having maybe a side business of some sort? Maybe a side hustle, maybe having my hobbies, maybe working out, right? Maybe having basketball with the guys, with the girls, maybe some volleyball, whatever it is, a game, tennis. Just in general, having balance between all of those two sides and the life that you're meant to go for and enjoy and do. And it doesn't matter what your age is here, I feel like is really important. You might be in your 40s, 60s, you might be in your freaking 20s doing this. If you're younger than that, you might not want to watch my channel because it's kind of meant for 18 plus, but whatever. Getting back to the point, This is a lifelong like process for you. This is a lifelong essential part of life. Honestly, like you kind of keep developing this throughout life. Whatever your thing is, and this, is the two sides thing. Um, this is my good side, this is my bad side, this is like all of me, going through extremes of trying to justify everything, not being able to do either because it's both, right? And just being like thrown around in that. We all go through life realizing who we are, who we aren't, and how to manage that, and how to live with it, and how to like prosperously create it into a manageable thing where we actually feel afloat or above water, or like we're just making it by good enough, and it's been going on for a few years, and so we can be happy with the changes we make, but then also with who we truly are at the core of who we actually are, with our chaos and with our stability because we're gonna have both. There's no way of completely being a robot and being happy, or being a complete wreck and being happy. It's kind of like trying to figure out the both sides to that, right? How do I let my wild side and my grown up, whatever side, find peace and harmony in letting each other live their lives, but do the stuff they're responsible for to be a functional part of your own life, not really society. Fuck that. Who cares? Society's already kind of lost it, lost it to its own thing. But you yourself need to figure out how you're going to be happy with people, with your responsibilities, with your hobbies, with your, I don't know, addictions are coming through, but in the way of like, can I have a healthy experience of this instead of it becoming a addiction? So maybe it's gaming, maybe it's alcohol, maybe it's smoking weed, maybe whatever it is. Maybe it's working out, right? Like maybe it's buying certain things. You can find your own peace with it and have it a fulfilling part of your life just as much as the other side that, when you stress over too much being responsible, that doesn't make you happy. But if you manage it right with this happy side, then everything comes into harmony and equilibrium. It's a lifelong process. Some years are better than others, but like you see how the ups and downs kind of build you up and break you down to have those results. So yeah, you can't hold down shit. You're just gonna keep yourself stuck up and tied up, and you're gonna be looping forever instead of being happy about it. Um, because this is a beauty of you, right? You don't see it that way though. That's why this part of the message is coming through. Like I know this was about like the beauty within you, but I forgot to mention the disclaimer, and I mean I tried to. I don't know how that worked, but literally, this reading is going to say what it's going to say about it, how the divine sees it, and how you're managing your life with it kind of is important if it's such an inherent part of who we are at the core, our beauty at the core of us, right? And like God made us always. They made she, it, whatever you believe, it made us the way it made us, so we can just be experiencing the pros and cons and the multiple aspects and sides to it. And sometimes for us, it feels like just two extremes, but really, it's a whole circle of feelings and emotions. It's a whole freaking different manifestation of energy and versions and circumstances of where this stuff comes across. Um, and there's a purpose for the positives and the negatives of us. No one can only be on top or just below, whatever, right? Everything is working side by side harmoniously all the time, shifting different aspects of it in and out, shining different lights, and people are like literally a whole freaking glowing planet of that these days. And you're a part of it, and there's no way to hold it down. Like there's no way to. Yes, there's an answer to how to find you can find your balance in this, and I think that word is triggering, and you need to figure out why balance is bad, because I feel like every time I spoke about balance or something to do with equilibrium or good things like that, like someone started hurting bad every time. you need to figure out why you don't like the idea of balance before you can move on to finding your own balance. Everyone has a different center of balance, different center, different colors in the center, different ways of how it feels. My balance isn't the same as your balance, and vice versa. Otherwise, the planet wouldn't really be working. We need night owls, we need hyperactive people, we need slow and slobby people that take their time on everything. We need everything. But why do you need to hold everything down stably? I feel like it's something to do with the family and there not being a very stable family that is making this kind of like a desire and a need of yours. And then that means you need to heal these different sides of you and talk to them like the grown up you've never had, like the authority you never had. Whatever it is to you, right? Be your own damn authority. Fuck that idea of needing someone because like you can find the stability within yourself without needing to hold down to everything and make it into this like internal war of stuff. Yeah, and honestly, you're holding yourself back from the truth. You're a pretty wise person, even though you're super damn. I mean this with like love and respect, like weird and all over the place. Even though you're like that, I gotta say that you're a very like nice, commendable person that's just out of your own mind. Like you literally are so afraid of trusting your own self to see through your own like lies or bullshit or how you've conceptualized certain aspects or things of yourself. Like you're the one that labeled yourself to be this or that, and then you ignore it and act out of it because the energy compiles up on you and then it's an avalanche of emotions, right? Like you're the one narrating and marinating on your own like stew and juices and whatever. What are you putting in? What are you cooking with? What are you saying about yourself? Maybe there's fear of like being honest and going through the Eight of Swords here because it's literally like, okay, this is the road in front of me. This is who I am, how I am, and what I need to fucking do about it. um, or this isn't that bad of a part of me, or this needs some work. Like there's so many different ways of how to look at it, but ultimately it's kind of like I'm gonna stop lying to myself. I'm gonna figure out how to stop lying to myself. I'm gonna figure out how I can talk to myself honestly and see this truth. I'm gonna do the stuff I'm like not cool with doing because I keep uh, making excuses and just escaping it, right? I'm gonna go take that walk every day, or I'm gonna go do that meditation, do that journaling. I'm gonna catch myself every time I start getting negative in my narration of things. I'm gonna start looking into things, why I'm complaining about them, and how to shift that around. Like, I'm gonna start actually doing it instead of just trying to hold down for it and keep things afloat because it's not working. These things need to die. You need to shift over and change about what is the true balance between all parts of you and accepting your wholeness instead of separation mentality of this is good, this is bad, this is how I'm responsible, and this is how I'm gonna be okay living and okay doing this and da 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 da. This way I'm not good or okay. Like why can't why can't I make this work? Why can't I fucking sort this out and just add it up and like why can't I just figure out how to like be a fucking human or be responsible, be an adult, be whatever. It's like you're already fine, chill out. What the fuck? We already spoke about this. Kinda saddy. Uh, heart goes out to you. You can figure it out. And I believe that with time, this will become more apparent to you. I think you've spent a good year or so maybe like being lost in it. Like truly being like, what the like I've tried being the best version of myself I could be, and I just hit a wall of being the worst version of myself I could be. It's like sometimes you need to figure out what it is and isn't, right? Before like you can move forward. Sometimes you need to see all of the truth of like how you act and what happens because of it or what you do to impact it to figure out how to go forward in the best way possible. Just because it's not quite happening the way you imagined it to doesn't mean it's bad or you're bad. It just means that you needed the first try of being your best version to go wrong so you can figure out and realize which aspect of you you're like attacking, which aspect of you you're building up, how it's uneven, and what you're being maybe ignorant about, and that like life is life, you need to make some choices and changes if you do want to do this thing that you said you want to do. And the changes are going to be fine with time. It's kind of just getting over yourself, really. So, yeah, I hope this helps. Thank you for getting a reading from me. Uh, this was a toughie. Sorry for that. You are beautiful though. Like I hope the point of what your beauty is and that it is beauty, like the darkness and the sanctuary vibe thing, that like all of it is beauty, did come across. I think you've just struggled with yours, and so it became a different reading in a little way about how to deal with your beauty, not necessarily what your beauty is. But I guess like I can't read your beauty, right? If you haven't opened the doors to exploring it yourself, or you demonize certain things and you don't want to hear about them. So yeah, I'm wishing you the best of luck. And if you want to show your support, go down below with the regular buttons that you approve of to show your support. I appreciate it. And otherwise, you can also check out my link tree where I do Twitch and other things and whatever have you. And yeah, if you like live readings and video games and just philosophy chats, head on over there and we can have a good time. See ya! Hello, pile number 4. You got the Queen of Pentacles. You're a very mature individual when it comes to your taste in like the luxuries of life, but also in how you take care of yourself. Like maybe you're a person that really knows quality of items, like what good quality coffee tastes like, how to brew it, etc., like what the brewing processes are behind that, right? Tea, coffee, whatever is in terms of products like hand products, face products. You're in the know what to consume, what to take care of yourself with. Maybe you like baths. Maybe you like stuff like, taking care of your nails for men, taking care of your beard, or you're mindful of like, I don't know, your haircuts to be a particular way, or you know how to try out different styles, right? And maybe as a man in general, you also like use products, and in some places of, the world, it's not really common for guys to do that. But you're a person that seeks that out for like themselves. You seek out to feel good, to feel pampered, to feel looked after, because it gives you a sense of I don't think it translates the same way, like solidarity in a way, like a solid type of state where you're kind of just in solitude and okay. And it's just peaceful and tranquil and you're in a prosperous place, right? It just helps you keep your mind on track. Yeah, it helps you like really heal and feel at peace and just see like the better things in life. Some of you are artists as well as coming through, and if you're not an artist, you might have a quirky hobby or interest, like maybe you paint your action not action figures, those little soldiers, but maybe it's cars, maybe it's you build like houses, right? And you create them as a miniature like proper cool intricate thing. Maybe you're a carpenter, maybe you're into stitching, painting, um, gluing things, or like glasswork and stuff like that. Yeah, and anything and everything like craftsy, homemade, stuff like that is really coming through. Cancer energy is quite strong here, quite strong. And I know that like Queen of Pentacles is an earth sign, but Cancer also has that shell, right? And is very focused on home-oriented type of stuff and vibes. So that's why Cancer is coming across also that like moon Kind of is helping with the vibe there as well. You might be a bit of a night owl or like just peaceful, tranquil times of the day, so late evenings, before bed, early mornings when no one's woken up yet. Yeah, you're not really a fan of things being out of order or out of place. You take consideration before moving forward to new endeavors or new things. In general, you have this like stability around or above, like just everywhere within you of like I'm gonna be taken care of and happy, and only then is shit gonna happen. Only then is stuff really going to make sense to me or matter enough for me to go through life and figure my stuff out and the problems and everything else out. I feel like you're a person that really doesn't like any problems. You are studiously just in your own like place and space, and you like being left alone to just do what you do and just appreciate like the solitude of that. But you understand that life is different and you have like a family or society or something that's also a part of your experience, and you use your stability to go forward, and that kind of creates just more stability everywhere else because everything needs to follow that exempt rule of yours of like it's kind of like I'm gonna appear and I'm gonna do my best and like be in this state because I am in this state. I feel this way, and like this, whatever this is, needs to fall in line. So if it's a workplace, it has to be a proper workplace for you, and it has to abide by whatever rules of your needs for you to even stand the place to go work in it. If it's, let's say, a hospital situation, you really damn make sure, or you are so solid in how you move about and talk maybe to the clinicians or the admins, right? That like you get sorted with the best doctor, the best procedure, or the timetable works out perfectly for you. And it's kind of like you sort things out in a very particular, meticulous manner, and other things around you need to like fall into place. They need to be suit for things to go forward. Otherwise, it's kind of like energy doesn't happen, like it doesn't flow. If you get a lot of cancellations and other things and whatever, sometimes it might frustrate you, but I think a part of you knows that didn't happen because it wasn't good enough for you. And you need it to be in a time or place or space that is going to be better for your energy, and there's no other way of going around it because it's just natural to you. You might be considered to be a person that moves really slow, but honestly, you're kind of just a person that moves in a very secure manner and way. And again, Cancer energy is coming across that it's kind of like so you're emotionally prepared to go forward to do whatever you need to do. You just need shit to be in order in your house, in your home. Maybe just the prospect or essential need of like you go out to do something and then you're thinking about coming back home, right? And that being such a secure point for you is just so like really needed. And you invite that everywhere else around or just for yourself wherever you are. You do know of ways in how you've kept yourself away from success with this as well because you've given into it and then you kind of realize like there's no point in giving into something that you airtight, secure, airlock so well that it keeps you in a place where you're fine, right? But it's just kind of like limbo at that point because there's just nothing. It's just a vacuum and you still have dreams and aspirations and goals and desires, and some of them are very uncomfortable. Let's say, like socializing or finding a partner is coming across quite strongly. So maybe you are like an introvert or someone that just really is not a people person. Like you don't have necessarily a problem, maybe you do with people, but you in general just don't participate as actively as other people would like or you would think you to or whatever, or just in general how it's not like normal or accepted. You don't operate that way. You need your own time for things, you need your own approach, and it's okay if it doesn't work, but sometimes you've noticed that it was to your detriment of like you not taking opportunities that were there for you in this manner, in this way, but you just were so comfortable in where you were that you decided to stay instead of going out and like experiencing your abundance to its fullest potential, experiencing your security to its fullest like success rate. Top and bottom, and that's it. I don't know why. I feel like this is a very interesting group of people. The calculated artists, in a way. Gothica kind of is coming through, like the style Gothic. But anyway, yeah, so I feel like you're going to be diligent in where you need to go or what you need to do. As long as you don't hyper focus on being secure and stable all the time, you'll be able to go towards the place that will really feel like home. But it is important to keep going there in the manner that is appropriate for you and to not stop. Even if it's sometimes difficult, you'll know if you have to push yourself or if you need to hold back. You're quite aware on that. I think it's just like actually doing the effort is a bit much for you because you feel like people that just kind of have a feminine uh, aura around you. Like you're more of the people that take care, are steady in place. All right, you're not like the moving, doing, and like type of people. You're more you appreciate attracting things more so than going out and doing them. And sometimes you still need to go out and do things, even if you're super well at attracting, maintaining, and nurturing things to their fullest potential. Like you still need to go out and like explore, have things happen and occur, and for you to move towards that in a way that works for you instead of just expecting it to always find you because you're always going to stay at the three of wands instead of elevating to the four, right? And you feel like people that want to get to your achievement or goal because it's such a hefty one or a big one. But if you keep stepping towards it, it'll be a really good experience where it's like, oh, I didn't even need to move or do so much. I just needed to do it in a way that was right for me and then consistent and steady. And that consistency and steadiness is your strength. It is your strong suit. You don't need it to be really big or flashy or a lot or too much or burn, right? It's not fire. Like it's just like tuk 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 like it's steady like pulse. That's all I'm getting. I know this was like the way shortest like read, but I don't have too much here. Very straight to the point, logical pile, and just mentioning that as a talent of yours, and I guess a friendly boop and prod to go forward and make whatever you want of it. Don't hold yourself back, type of thing. So, yeah, thank you so much for getting a reading and sharing your story, your energy. Feel free to let me know how you feel or whatever you think in the comment section or the likes and the dislikes and the subs button section below. And if you want to see more of me, I have a link tree where you can keep up with my streams and other things that I do, like gaming. So, yeah, I appreciate you and have a good one. Ta-ta. Hello, pile number 5. Let's get right into it. So, the Page of Swords. You're the youthful one that kind of just says things as they are, sometimes brings a lot of truth, sometimes accidentally says stuff that they shouldn't. But ultimately, you're a useful like idea catcher. You're the youthful like, hey, let's just shoot the shit. Let's just go. Let's just talk about things. Let's just go there. Why not? There's so much to explore. There's so much to go towards, and I'm not gonna limit myself by like limiting beliefs. You somehow have an ability to keep a fresh perspective, especially when other people don't and can't. You somehow have this ability to always start a conversation, go where people are afraid to go. You don't take no for an answer when it comes to the point of like, let's go and conversate about this. Like, there's no reason why we should keep ourselves away from conversation, conclusion, debates, conversion, like alchemy of just talking about things. Like we shouldn't hold ourselves back because of societal taboo or ideas of, family or honor or tradition or ideals. Like all of that is limiting shit, and I'm here to show you it. Like you're kind of aware of the point that everyone's kind of keeping themselves in boxes of consciousness and just being lost in the bullshit of like everyone's thinking about this weird paradigm that doesn't even matter in life, and that you are a person that somehow sees beyond it and does not have those limitations, and you've noticed that some of it is because you don't have attachments like other people do. It's there's something there with it, like you do and you don't. It doesn't work the same way, and so it's a blessing and a curse. I don't know what the curse part of it is. It's not that big or bad of a curse. I think just sometimes like you are seen to be a naive or too fiery, and ultimately like you're very smart and educated and you know your shit. It doesn't matter that you're naive or young or energetic or very emotional about the things and passionate about the things you talk. It just means that you are more lively in your eyes than, the other party that's kind of like dead in it. They're just attached to ideas that don't really matter to them. They don't feel anything about them, so why are they talking about them? You're a kind of Aquarian like empath, and I mean it in a way of like you can recognize people's emotions and why they feel the way they feel and why they think the way they think and how it's hard to change that. But then you yourself are kind of confused by it at the same time of like I can see it, why can't you? Like these ideas aren't that important to you. I can see that within you. Why are you talking about it like this matters to you? Why are we even arguing about this stupid shit? Because I know you don't give a shit about this, but like I can see that there's also going to be a road to even get to the point that you don't care about this. Like I can't even sometimes you know that you should open a conversation about it, but other times you've stopped giving shit because it's annoying to constantly be opening the door for people to go towards actually talking about something meaningful because they have this thing stopping them and then they don't even want to admit the thing. It's been very frustrating for you trying to find individuals that are open-minded enough to even have conversations about the things that you want to have conversations about, or in the way you want to have conversations about things. You might have had this thing where you're giving an example or you're speaking about a thing in a certain way, and people think that's your actual opinion or just the way you actually see it. And it's like, no, I'm describing this. I'm describing this thing to get to my point, and you haven't listened to me enough to get to my point. You're attacking all of these things I've said, not getting to the point of it. Like, I'm trying to realize or understand the depths of how much you can understand, and you're like stuck at arguing at point A, B, C, D, whatever, when point A, B, C, D weren't even points. They were just like me building up to opinion, a crescendo. Like, you really just had to wait a little bit or to give me a chance or opportunity to talk or to seek understanding in the conversation instead of responding and reacting. Like you see the issue between people responding and reacting and then actually connecting and conversating. There's not enough about or of that, and you hope you're not gonna like lose this flair because other people have lost their flair about this. And it's really gotten you down seeing some of like the greats in your eyes fall down to being stuck in boxes they don't need to be stuck in. And it's just frustrating to all hell because you have a lot of topics to talk about. You're interested in whatever it is, multitudes of it. But I would say like let's say we're going by school topics, right? Like you're interested in biology, geography, maths. language, other language, third language. You go to the freaking library to just read literature of your own and see like what you think about it instead of studying it, right? Like you're interested in so many things and you have so many opinions that it's kind of like hard having all of them in your head and not having anyone to talk to about it. Ultimately, you're kind of fine with the point that you're gonna need to stand out and just be this until you can't, and then you need to come back and take time at home and chill out and relax and just come to center and forget about all of the things that you were kind of like trying to talk about or you were trying to have fun with, because it's kind of like you have fun, but amidst it, there's so many downfalls of people missing the point that it really drains you because it leads to these experiences that are lackluster or non-important to you. And it's kind of like you go to a party, you have fun for the first 3 hours, and the last 3 hours are such a drag. You end up staying at home 2 other weekends because it's like, fuck this shit. I can't deal with these people. And it's not that, like, yeah, you can go out and find a bunch of different people, but I think there's something you're seeking and finding within yourself and how you do things to find a life that you like and want to then find the people you're gonna need or want to find when the time is gonna be right. Currently, you might have like one, two friends that you like hanging out with, and that's all right, and maybe they'll cycle out in about like 3 years, five years. But you're building up to a different place in life and just everything so you can meet the people you need to meet. And for the time being, it is about being just the Pages words in its infancy as it's coming across to then transform and go over to whatever is across the rainbow. All right. Don't fight yourself too much. Don't even fight for conversation. Like flow, accept, go with whatever you need to for yourself, realize who you are, step into that, lean into that, but don't waste your time on other people when you could be using this towards your own benefit in some way. Like, do seek out your own benefit to keep chipping away at that instead of having a focus as like it not working as your main priority, but you still need to show up this way and keep doing this to then maybe get something, right? It's kind of like, no, understand that this is going to be whatever. You can find your own parameters of how you can make this work, but then in your own personal life, when you're investing towards something, invest towards you. Because these ideas and these conversations you want to have and this energy and this way you are is important. It's cool, it's interesting. And it can kind of fizzle out if you get too fed up or too annoyed and then you'll need to go back to it. So it's kind of like nurture it now. Start building upon it currently right now. Look into what it means for you to be interested in these things. Like, how do you feel about them? Why do you feel that way? Why do you, you know, why do you like it? Where you could invest it? What would you like to see in the world of it more? Maybe it's shows, maybe it's certain art, whatever it is, right? Think about that and see if you want to participate in that in any way, right? Maybe you want to express your thoughts in the future, currently, right now, whatever way works for you, that is gonna be like an outlet that keeps this going, that keeps this alive, that keeps the fire burning, instead of you trying to express it and have it and experience it, and then it getting doused with like people's vibes you don't like, right? You can then, even if that happens in this scenario, like you could go back to your hobby, interest, or whatever, journaling, anything you're investing into, which I think you're slightly afraid of, and that's the whole point. You can have as much issue as you want with people, but at the end of the day, this is about you. Everything like is about you being happy in your life, right? So it's kind of like even if you're scared about it, it's the truth of it. You will need to eventually migrate to you living in this world of your own mind and experiences and interests and hobbies and manifesting it in an action or in a thing that you do of some sort. Either it's a hobby or a job or other things. It's gonna take time to figure it out, but like keep the fire alive. Some of you already work with this. and you know you're gonna transform. You're just waiting and trying to be patient. And I think you also are like, yeah, I understand that I need an outlet because this is getting too frustrating. So thank you for that message. But what are the next cards? Yeah, you really make stuff happen. You really, but you are in your. These are kind of like opposites at the current moment. I mean, in general, the rainbow card speaks to a lot of things, and the Rainmaker speaks to a particular point of view, being your individual, like authentic self, right? And coming out of like the shadows of it, like after seeing it as a bad thing, you realize it's a great thing and you start making it rain. Or in general understanding that maybe you have a talent that's either like more darker or has edges to it, but most of the time, it's realizing who you are, your power, and your truth of it, how you can sustainably express yourself after having hardship or from having hardship, like transforming from the ashes of it. The rainbow card can speak to phoenixes. The rainbow card can speak to you being in full flight and alignment of who you truly are and where you're going and what you're creating and how vibrant you're coming across and that it's noticeable and it's having an impact. You're like in the world with it. You're actually like soaring with it and doing something. So you are still working through the shadow of it to come out into the ultimate power of it. I think there's a part of where you believe that maybe you're always gonna need to be like in this darker aspect of you, but really, no, you're moving beyond it. You really are moving beyond it in a way that's gonna really make things shine. You're going to be lively. You yourself are going to be very vibrant and expressionate on these things. You're going to be noticed by it, and people will respond in a way that's going to make you feel nicer and better, like you're thriving instead of just surviving and then also making it sustainable, right? And figuring that out. It's kind of like you're actually fully blooming. You're there with it. And you've went through the transformation or the agony of it. But currently, you're at the Rainmaker, making your way to the rainbow. All right, I think this is also the last bit I got from it. I don't think I want to pull any more cards. Thank you so much for being a part of this reading and sharing your energy. I appreciate you and I appreciate you being here and you're spending your time with me. If you want to show your support or other like whatever vibes, you can go down and click the buttons that we all know and love on YouTube. They're the most famous buttons ever. Well, one of the most famous buttons, I would assume. And if anything, you can also go to my description and see my link tree where I have my Twitch stream and I also have just some other things that might interest you. So, click around, see if you like anything. There's gaming. I am getting into uploading more on my gaming YouTube and other things, so that might be kind of fun for you. But other than that, thank you, and I hope you have a good time. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.